time this year in Madurai. And if you haven't been to Madurai, I think next to Madhuban, it's the sweetest and the best.
I already planned to go.
Ah, you must go.
I got invitation already.
Really? Very, 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 you know the name is Madhu, right?
Yeah,
But it's
Madhu is
really
Madhu.
sweet. The sisters are amazing in that center. Big temple, Meenakshi temple. Yeah.
Jasmine flowers, trees.
Yeah. But the sisters in the center, I've yet to meet such sparkling jewels anywhere, so highly recommend that you visit. But I was listening all the time there, to Tamil songs, and it's very, so I felt a familiarity and a little bit more close, because I've been to Chennai before, but being in Madurai really gave the feeling of what is this Tamil kind of vibration. So nice to be here. So the topic is the essence of the Gita. So just while he's setting up, why should we talk about the essence of the Gita? First of all, thank you for your humility in coming to listen to an Australian talk about the Gita. I think this is the wonder of India. Very, very humble people. Accepting, loving. So why should we think about the essence of the Gita? What for? Why did you come? Because the essence means the point, right? What's the whole point? So what is the whole point of the Gita? What's it getting at?
The perennial philosophy, which is always the mankind can use as the philosophies.
But what's the essence of it? What's the whole Gita about?
How to live properly. Bhagavan Krishna is giving the techniques how human being can be.
All the scriptures do that. What's special about the Gita? Huh?
Go beyond the body subconsciousness.
Yeah,
Who am I?
one thing is who am I, and the whole knowledge of the soul. That, as far as I am aware, that is not in other scriptures. This whole thing of what is the soul? What's the final aim of the Gita? Because as they say in management, you should start with the end in mind, because then you know where you're going. And like it says in the story, Alice in Wonderland. Has anyone seen that? Alice in Wonderland, or read it? It says in there, if you don't know where you're going, any path will take you there, right? If I don't know where I'm going, where would I end up today? But I know I'm going to Tungabi, so I ended up here. But if I don't know where I'm going, you get in the car, you'll end up anywhere. So in the same way, where does the Gita hope to take us?
Final destination.
Which destination?
Knowing who am I, how I'm living this life.
Yeah, who am I? How to live this life? Yeah.
Ultimate destination.
Is what?
Ultimate destination
Is what?
is to Shiva.
To God. So for me, I mean, everyone will, if you read the Gita by any person, it's always different. So I can also be different, right? But to me, the whole essence is man manabhav. Be mine with your mind. And it says in the Gita that your final thoughts lead you to your destination. So the whole aim is to reach God, actually. To reach God. Because it's not just a matter of reaching God this minute, but ultimately, where am I going to reach? What is my destination when I leave this body? Like they say, you know, if you remember your wife at the time of death, I've only ever read ... Do you know what else it says? It always says in our muli, if you remember your wife at the time of death, ... which is very interesting. But basically, you know, that will be your destiny, whatever that relationship was. You know, whether it was attachment or lust or love or, you know, but whatever it was, that will be your, whether it was fighting all the time, you know. But, you know, because at the last minute when we leave the body, the thing that is most important to us will come to our mind. And Didi Nirmala told a story that there was a BK who was leaving the body, hadn't eaten food outside. She was a teacher for 30 years. No Belpuri, I heard.
Samosa.
She told me Belpuri.
Okay.
Might have been another one. So on her deathbed, she was just thinking of Belpuri. And all she wanted was Belpuri, and she didn't care who cooked it. It didn't have to come from, you know, like we tried to eat food cooked in remembrance of God. But she was so desperate, she didn't even care. So it's like that last thought must be quite powerful. So we would like our last thought to be going to God. That's my destination. But then how to get there? So in the Gita it says that higher than ritual is what? Higher than ritual is what? What's the next step? Ritual doesn't take much to do ritual in that sense, right? It's physical. You know? It can be done even by anybody, really, isn't it? I mean, I know you can put more love and concentration and things like that, but basically anyone can do ritual. Is it right? Is it right? Disagree with me because it'll be interesting if you do. So don't just agree if you don't think so, please. So higher than ritual is knowledge. Because knowledge needs what? Understanding. Discernment.
Focus,
concentration, and basically purity, because they say the milk of the lioness can only be kept in a golden vessel. So we have to make our intellect golden in order to be able to imbibe. And this word imbibe or dharna is a very deep and interesting word because it means two things. Understand, like imbibe means to get it, but it also means to do it. It has both meanings. That's a very interesting word. But to imbibe, we need a golden vessel. So, of course, knowledge is not that easy. It's not like just reading something, but to really, you know, imbibe it, inculcate it. And Charlie Bai was asking me the other day, some of you were there, he said, I'm always enthusiastic. I guess it's true. And he was asking how I keep this enthusiasm. And I'd never really thought about it so much before. How do I keep this enthusiasm? Basically by being interested in churning. If I don't have something new to churn and think about, I feel very dull, you know? And I remember once in Madhuban, we went for a walk and we went on Naki Lake with Brother Surya, or Atim Prakash, one of them. And, you know, we walked down and we went on the lake and then we walked back. But actually we said after we got off the boat, it was a waste of money to go on the boat because we were so engaged in our conversation, we didn't see anything. You know, we could have been sitting on a pile of rubbish and we wouldn't, in the sense that we were so oblivious to what was around because we were so engaged. You know, that's where I love to be. That is a very favorite place of mine, to be in deep, you know, in interesting conversation, thinking, really this churning. And that is what keeps my enthusiasm. Not only in the sense of just like the knowledge, but of course how it's applied and how people apply it. And that's why I've enjoyed living in India, because it's very different. It's very different to Australia. Culture's different, values are different. So it's fascinating for me. I'm absolutely, really enjoying thinking about how people think and do things differently. So I'm very alive there because it's always new. So very good. And interesting, because Didi said yesterday, which is also true, she said that she always felt that to be in India would be so wonderful because India's the best land in the world and all these things. And she told us yesterday that since she went to India 3 years ago, she feels absolutely ashamed of being Indian. She said the values and she says it's gone down because she's lived out of India for so long. I think the India she left 20, 30 years ago, I think she came to Australia in 1980, 30 years. So the India she left and the India she went back to, completely different. So for her, it's been kind of a bit of a shock and a disappointment. However, I am going around India, meeting all the leaders. That's what I'm doing. And I have a very different experience. Maybe she just reads the newspapers. If you read the newspaper, you will feel India's finished.
Yes.
It is so bad. But I meet the people, and I'm absolutely amazed by how much they care for other people. The people I meet are living for others, nearly all of them. Big people, like the top psychiatrist in the whole of the north of India, president of the Psychiatric Association of India. So big. But when I went to meet him, working in a little clinic, surrounded by very poor people who could probably pay him maybe 100 rupees, if that. And he was so happy. Not just happy, blissful. And this kind of captured what I see in India. I see giving, I see caring, I see sacrifice, I see renunciation. Because he could be serving the rich and be so wealthy now. So wealthy. But he's sitting in this quite dirty, smelly little clinic also, because that's what happens when you have big crowds and, And I thought, in fact, I want to touch his feet. You have this culture of I want to touch his feet. I felt so humbled by him. But I thought, he might think that's funny. Australian touching his feet. So I thought, oh, maybe I better not. But the feeling was of so much kind of respect. So I have that experience all the time since 3 years. I've been living in India 3 years, meeting people. So I can understand what Didi's saying, because that's just as true, but the other's just as true. So that's why this knowledge is so important, because it makes us alive. And I'll finish this bit first. After knowledge, what's higher than that, according to the Gita? You don't say, because she's studying the Gita. She has to give us very big 10-week lectures on the Gita. It'll be fantastic. What's higher? Yeah, it says meditation. Maybe it says tapasya, but the translation I read is meditation. So higher than knowledge is meditation. And higher than meditation? Very interesting. Higher than meditation? Which means? Dharana means?
Practice or karma.
Which means? Karma yoga. Karma yoga is higher than meditation. To me, this was such a wonderful thing to read, because like you said, practical. We can sit in a corner and feel love and peace and happiness. But karma yoga is to be going to work and feeling love and peace and happiness. It's to put it into practice. But it's even more than that, because what really is karma yoga? Sometimes we just say it, we think of it as cleaning and doing the dishes, and this is karma yoga. Is that what it is? What is karma yoga? What is it?
Maybe it's being at one with everything you do. And
Yeah.
everything with
It's God consciousness.
being at
It's to be in yoga, not even soul consciousness, God consciousness, because it's to be in yoga whilst you are doing action. Is that easy? Is that easy? How much did you remember God at work today? Huh?
Whenever there is some difficulty.
Whenever there's a difficulty. So you had lots, I hope you had lots of difficulties. But see, even that, to remember God in difficulties, I would say is not yoga. That's bhakti.
looking for something.
Yeah, and it's not really connection. It's prayer. It's asking.
It's one-sided.
And the main thing in yoga is it's Atma connected with Param Atma. So if I'm in a state of confusion or desperation, I'm not soul conscious. I'm not soul conscious. So it can't be yoga. It's just, hope, prayer, hope, something like that. But to really have yoga, to really be in that connection whilst doing action, is the highest destination. Isn't it?
Some people think work is God. That is karma yoga, especially in yogics.
Yeah, but only if
Yeah.
it's karma yoga, not just work.
Just work.
It has to be karma yoga. But if you can, and also that's so practical, because as it says in the Gita, you can't renounce action. As long as you're in a body, you're going to perform action. And so much of the Gita is how to perform action. And it says that a karma yogi doesn't incur sin. Fantastic. Doesn't incur sin. Because if you're in yoga doing action, connected with God, what it really means is being aligned with God. It's like you're on the same wavelength. So how can you incur sin if you're in that influence? Basically, you're under the influence of God doing action. And then another thing in the Gita it says is that one of the biggest mistakes of human beings is that they think that they are doing the action. Whereas actually it's the three gunas. The action is happening because of the three gunas. And this is so deep that I've been enjoying thinking about it for at least 2 months and talking to other people about it. And when I listen to the Morni, I think of this. Even today in the Morni, it was saying that, we make effort according to the drama. What is that? See, when we think that we're doing an action, and when we think to do something, we're influenced by so many things. And the three gunas, of course, are sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic. So when we do anything, we are always under the influence of one of these. But you can see all the things that influence it, like our past karmas, the omens that we're under. Sometimes we're just not under good omens. Do you know about that? I don't know much about it, but it's true. We're just like influenced, like the atmosphere, the vibrations, other people. We're so influenced. And so what is sattvic? What does it mean to do action under That's Sattvik Guna. What does it mean?
Without expecting anything with the God.
Exactly. Not expecting anything and giving.
Not attached to the result.
Yeah. And also the essence of it, also, that's also right. But to do an action just because it's the right thing to do. No other motivation. Not even doing it so that you will benefit or even attain something. That high. That high. Because basically the thing that is our problem is desire. Kamana. No? That's the problem. And if we're doing action, always there will be kamana, some desire. So what the Gita is saying is the only kind of desire is to do good. Not for any reason except that it's good. So that includes not looking for the return. And the result of that is? The result of that is happiness, bliss, all that's good. But then you can really be a karma yogi if you're not looking for any return, because the mind won't waver. You're just doing it because it's the right thing to do. But also within that is the faith. You know, there's like an implicit faith in that if I do the right thing, then everything anyway will be good. I don't have to think what return I want. And so it also says in the Gita, another thing I've been thinking about for a few months, you can tell a person by their faith. That's so deep. You can tell a person by their faith. It will show in someone's eyes, through their words, through their everything. And I was with someone about a few weeks ago, and she was saying that she loves Krishna, she believes in Krishna, and it was all Krishna, Krishna, and really she was saying how much she loves Krishna, but she has a problem in her life since many years, and it's really frustrating her. So she's kind of in sorrow because it is a difficult problem, no doubt. But, you know, after a while, you know, of kind of building up some kind of relationship, I said to her, actually, I'm sorry to say, but I don't think you've got any faith in Krishna at all. It was a strong thing to say, because if you have faith, you can change your mindset to accept a situation. You can't say, I believe in God, and yet be in suffering. You can't. And as they say, there's only one prayer. Do you know what it is? There's only really one prayer. Only one. Actually. What is that?
One prayer.
There's only one prayer.
Manmanam.
Thank you. Thank you. That's the only true prayer. Everything else is asking for something, begging. It's not real. But when you can feel thank you for everything and anything, that's real faith. And that's real wisdom and power when you can say thank you. I'm not saying it's easy, you know, but it was very fortunate that in that little gathering we had, just 4 people came to that little meeting, and the other 2 people had just as difficult situations as her, and yet they were so kind of accepting and strong, you know. So it was very interesting because, you know, it means that whatever your situation, you can still, you know, be happy and strong, you know. And it was very amazing that all of them had very challenging situations. And so think about that. And what does this faith include? It includes faith in the self, faith in God, faith in the drama, faith in others.
Faith in self.
Yeah, so it's not a small thing, is it? But you can tell a person by their faith. And you know people who have faith, what they are like. Invincible. You know, really, they're so beyond.
They'll be careful.
Carefree, beyond. And one time Baba asked us, do you all have faith? And it was in Madhuban. So obviously, you know, Baba said, you're thinking why Baba's asking this, because you're thinking, why would you be here if you didn't have faith? So Baba says, so you really all think you have faith? Do you all have faith? And then Baba said, can there be a percentage in faith? Huh? Can there be? Can there be?
Yes or no?
Not really. So Baba said, well, let me ask you, do you all think you have faith? Do you all have faith in Baba?
Yes.
Yeah, but
How do
like
you?
Baba said also,
He's not sure.
More
Huh?
than faith.
More than faith.
Experience. I experience power.
Uh-huh.
Experience is love. I experience is being.
Okay.
So I can't say I can't deny it. Faith, maybe I've lost faith. But if I experience, once I experience, then I cannot deny it.
So we all feel that we have faith, right? We all feel that. But then Baba's next question was, the sign of faith is that you're always victorious. So are you always victorious at every moment, in every situation?
If you think it is there is benefit always in everything.
But do you? Baba asked, do you? You know, we think we have faith, right? Like that lady, she really thought she had faith. But the sign of faith is victory.
Accepting the will of God.
Yeah.
It's like
So
acceptance.
none of us probably are complete, right? But that's interesting. So what Baba said is, now you're thinking, you know, so can there be a percentage in faith? And Baba says, there's a percentage in knowing, but not in being. Very deep, you know. We all know, but being means that we're like that woman, you know, who's in this challenge. She has faith in Krishna here, but in a reality, not as much as she needs. You know, not as much as she needs, so that she can transcend the suffering. So, we'll go back to these gunas. So the first guna is sattvic. The return of that is bliss, happiness, all that's good. The second, rajasic. So what's the sign that your actions are influenced by rajasic guna?
Expecting something.
expect.
Yeah. Expecting an outcome. Yeah. You know, looking for the fruit of action. And also passion. That word was particularly in there. That's very interesting. Passion. And Helen Chapman, she was going to come tonight, but she's working on, we had a deep conversation about passion on the weekend, because she's churning passion. Because if you look up the dictionary, passion seemed to be very negative, you know, because it leads to lust and anger and, you know, all of these things. But in the world today, especially in the West, I don't know about India so much, passion's really considered very good. and they're doing workshops, find your passion, all this kind of thing, you know?
Passion for work.
Yeah.
India too, certain careers, passion, you have to be passionate artist. Otherwise,
Yeah.
without attachment is a different story.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting though, isn't it?
Yeah, passion can be good.
Yeah. But I have a nature of being passionate. But anyway, let me do this one first. So what do you think the return of Rajasic mentality will be? If you do action in Rajasic consciousness, what will be the return?
Worldly benefits.
Material.
Material benefits, whatever.
Material benefits? What do you think? It says in the Gita. Try and remember, you've probably read it. The return is pain. Pain. Because if you do anything looking for a return, there's expectation. You'll definitely have pain.
Sorrow.
Yeah, it said pain, sorrow.
That's Rajo.
Rajo. So what do you think Tamo is?
Ignorance.
Huh?
Ignorance.
If you do without any expectation, there won't be any sorrow.
Yeah, so that's why. That's Sattvic. So Rajo is pain and Tamo is ignorance. And the influence, what's influencing the tamasic mentality is uncaring, laziness, sloth. And that, you wouldn't think that's so bad, no? So bad. But why I think it's so bad is because uncaring, that's how people torture other people. They don't care. You know, when you reach such a stone kind of dead soul, no conscience. If you do things without caring, what's happened to your conscience? So the return is ignorance. And to think that ignorance is lower than pain. That's very interesting, isn't it? I would not have thought of that, you know, that ignorance is lower than pain. Because it's actually in ignorance that most of this really, really bad stuff happens. Pain, at least you can feel what is right, what is wrong. Some things, at least, there's some indicator. But when you get to ignorance, there's no indicator. It's very dangerous.
And yet they say ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, it's not.
No, it's not, isn't it?
Yeah, that's just wishful thinking. It's temporary bliss. Temporary, but the end result won't be bliss in any ignorance. So how deep this Gita is. How deep. And Sashi is studying it now, and what she's doing is she's looking at what the Gita says and what Baba says, and slowly, you know, going through. So she's going to share lots of good things with us later. You know,
It's just for
later.
myself, I'm doing
No, but we want to know. We want to. That will be so valuable for us, you know. And there's also a book written by Jagdish Bai, the Mahabharata and the Gita, the essence of the Gita, which is also very good. But just to think of, you know, what this all really means. So to, you know, because we're always doing action. And I don't think any other scripture, as far as I know, talks about action. Talks about really, I mean, it talks about things like, you know, if you're good, this will happen. But what is good? The depth of what is good, we don't know. Most people think they're good. And I remember Dadi Ji, she gave a talk in Singapore once, and, you know, she was really going into the depths of what is good. You know, and it was very interesting because most people think they're good. Because we don't know what is good. That's also ignorance. You know, that's a bit of ignorance. So the whole thing behind the Gita is to live in this world and again, another thing not in any other scripture, a wonderful teaching on detachment, right? This is so detached. To do the action just because it's the right thing to do. That's all. Not looking for the return, not even looking for a result, but so pure just to do the action because it's the right thing. And if we lived our life in this detached way, then we wouldn't get under all these influences, you see? Because we very easily get influenced because of desire. You know, we do something because we want to feel good. Even that's which level? Raja. Even that's Raja. So it takes us on to such a high level of dharana. And there's another philosophy called Taoism. It's spelled Taoism, Taoism, but they pronounce Taoism, and it's Chinese. It comes from the Tao Te Ching. And interestingly, they seem to have in that philosophy an awareness of golden age, because they say things like, when the world was pure, there was no such thing as an honest person, a good person. There were no adjectives. Everyone was good. Everyone was honest. You know? So if you take the Gita to this level, you know, again, you won't have so many adjectives. You won't have so many judgments. You know? It just takes you to this level, because if you're judging others, you're also not being a karma yogi. You're also, you know, when you compare and all those different things, you're totally getting off the track again. And you're coming under influences, thinking yourself better than others, trying to be better than others. And the thing is also what Baba teaches us, and the way he talks to us, he gives us such a high goal. You know, it's not ordinary, is it, what Baba tells us? Because Baba just wants us to be in that consciousness. Not to like think, I have to be. He says, you are. You are. But we keep saying, yeah, I will make efforts, I will be like that. But when we have real experiences, it's when we can go into the I am consciousness and be that. Anything less than I am is also a little ignorant. Because then we don't know who we are. We're thinking we're a human being that has to become good. I am a good soul that just has to remember that I'm good. I'm not a human being that has to become good. I'm a good soul that has to just realize and remember that I'm good. So it's a very, very different kind of journey and path when we understand the depth of it. And so that's why if we listen to Baba and we hear this very kind of elevated kind of versions and vision that Baba has for us, you know, like he says, you are master gods, you are world benefactors, you are this, you are that. If we can be influenced, if we can be under Baba's influence, we can hear it and feel it and realize it in that moment, you know? And that is very important. So when we listen, we need to listen in a sattvic consciousness also, you know? So it's like, and that's why meditation is so important, because meditation purifies. Because what the difference between, there's two separate things, meditation and yoga. Meditation is understanding myself and cleaning up, you know, the sanskars. And if I clean up the sanskars, there'll only be pure thoughts in the mind, because all the thoughts are coming from my sanskars, from my memory, from my chit, you know, from all the past. So if I clean up my chit, my sanskars, then the mind will be clear. And the definition that I feel is the most accurate in the sense of Raj Yoga for peace is a clear mind. Peace is to have a clear mind. A clear mind means that I don't react to anything. My mind's clear. So you can see that with a clear mind, a clean mind, clean sanskars and chit, clear mind, then you can be under sattvic kind of influence. But anything else is not going to be like that. And what Baba says is when we come to Baba, what's our birthday gift from Baba? As soon as we're born, what birthday gift did we all get?
Good, right.
Yeah, what?
Inheritance.
Yeah,
Words.
Divine intellect.
divine intellect.
Divine intellect.
He says, I gave it to you at the time of birth. Which means, you know, we can say this is what they talk about, opening the third eye. You know, when we realize that we're a soul, the third eye opens, but it's not that we can always keep that divine intellect. We got it as a birthday gift, but how are we looking after it? Are we keeping it, you know, in that divine state? Or are we messing it up with all of our own stuff? Because most of us use our intellect to judge others, to compare. You know, this is all the job of the intellect, to discern, to judge. It's all the work of the intellect. But we use it in such a tamu pradhan way because that's not the divine work of the intellect. The divine work of the intellect is to be, if we had a divine intellect, we would be appropriate. We would always know, like today, the words and thoughts would be yogyukt and yuktiyukt. Our words and thoughts would be powerful because they would be aligned. You know, we need to think and do, so we need an intellect, but it needs to be an intellect aligned. So a divine intellect is one that's aligned. In fact, that's how we have yoga. How can you have yoga without a divine intellect? Is it possible? Is it possible? No way. Because the intellect, what the intellect wants to do, what the job of the intellect and how it functions is to focus on one thing. So the divine intellect is connected to God. The mind doesn't like to be focused on one thing, actually. You can't control your mind. It doesn't like to be controlled. So what can we do with the mind?
Tame it.
Train the mind what to think.
What to think? Yeah, train it in the sense keep it on the track. Yeah, train it
Train.
in that sense. And train, interesting. The word train, it stays on the track, right? Must be where this, you know, these words always have deep meanings, but we need to train it. Because what happens is that in meditation, we focus the intellect and we can expand the mind, but only on the track. You know, it can travel, it can, you know, that's why it's true, but I think more of the mind expanding because the mind loves to expand. But it has to be anchored. You know, so you anchor it. That's what we do in meditation. We anchor in one thought, one idea, one consciousness. You know, it can be many things. We can focus on, like this concept of faith, we can focus on the three gunas, we can churn, we can realize, we can do all of these things in meditation, but we need one focus. It's never good in meditation to have a little bit of peace, little bit of happiness, then a little bit of love, because it's all on the surface. You won't get any experience, and you won't get any real satisfaction, because it's all just on the surface. But when you stay on one point for half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, you go deep, 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 and you get so filled with that depth that you feel so satisfied. And that's what makes us content. That's what Baba was talking about yesterday, to be a content soul. What does content mean? Content means content. We have to fill our content. So when we fill up, then we feel good. But if we're just, eating a little bit, never full, so we have to eat. What does it mean to eat? Take in the right thoughts. Yeah, but it's like we eat good thoughts, good feelings, and get very satisfied. It's like a good meal. When you've had a good meal, you feel good. So when we have good churning, good, deep thinking, some realizations, then it's like we can really feel satisfied. That's why Baba says, grind your own ingredients. Like the Gita, it's only going to be good if we grind it and see what does it mean and what can I enjoy from this, what can I absorb. So if we don't grind it, we can't digest it. It's just a big lump of something. Like I read the Gita before Gyan. I couldn't understand it at all. I thought, what is this scripture? How does anyone understand this? It was just beyond me completely, But with Gyan, because we at least have been doing some work on purifying the intellect and, having sattvic influence, connecting with Baba, divine intellect, all of these things makes us able to, take in, to imbibe this beautiful wisdom. So whatever you read, whether it's anything, usually you can get such butter. You can get the butter from it, not just the chas, not just the buttermilk that's not so rich and fulfilling. So it'll be good now. We've just got about 5 minutes. If you have a comment or something you want to add to what the Gita's so big we could talk all night, but just on what we covered tonight, is there? And then afterwards, if you have something else to add, you can tell me, because I'm very interested in the Gita. It's my passion. I don't know if that's bad.
So without passion, how do you perform a task?
Actually, okay, coming back to passion just a little bit. It's also said that a pure mind, a healthy mind will create desires that bring happiness. A healthy mind, it's like a sattvic mind, will create desires that bring happiness to the self and others. So desires themselves are not bad, but it should be a healthy mind, pure. So also what helped me, because I said I used to be quite a passionate person. I think I still am. Don't know, after the Gita, if I read it a few years it might change, but I am. But I read this very beautiful thing. It said that, and it helped me a lot, because I'm passionate. I had sorrow, pain, right? Because you get emotional. I can't stand to see suffering and things like this. So I had pain. But then I read that wisdom is passion and tranquility. Like the way I write it is wisdom equals passion plus tranquility. So I found, and to me tranquility comes from philosophy. There's a philosophical way of understanding everything. You know, like when we have suffering, when we understand philosophically that this is because of my karma, then we can't really have so much pain because I created it. I just have to take responsibility for it and, you know, clear it. So when there's, like I used to, you know, feel about the environment and, you know, I used to get a little worked up because I would think people are so stupid, you know, we've only got one planet. Where are we going to go when we mess it all up? Which is now. That was 30-something years ago, 40 years ago. And now it's a bit of a reality, isn't it? Like we can hardly live on this planet because natural calamities, pollutions, you know, it's pretty bad actually if you really look into it. But when I had this philosophy of knowing the cycle, Satyu, Treta, Dwapar, Kali Yuga, I think, okay, well it has to get worse before it gets better. So, you know, but I still think that whatever we do, whatever action I do, I have to do the right thing. It doesn't mean just because anyway it's going to get bad that it doesn't matter what I do to the environment, because my sattvic action is to do what is best, as high as I can. You know, on any level, whether it's for the environment, whether it's for a person, whether it's anything. So do the best I can. Sometimes it's difficult, you know, like you have a big gathering like 200 people, maybe we don't have 200 plates, we have to use disposable. It's really not good, but maybe once in a while it's necessary. But even then, I would choose a plate that's less impact on the environment. You know? As much banana leaf is best. If you can find so many banana leaves in Sydney, can you?
I have my own.
You have good. It's the best. See, that's how things were done. Banana leaves, wrapping, steaming, serving, so many.
And throwing.
Throwing, wrapped with a little, you know, natural string, like a bit of plant.
Even in Sydney, there's a program once a year for Ganesh thing. They, about 5,000 people come for that, and it's all dinner on banana leaves.
Yeah,
Comes
5,000.
from Cox Harbour, bananas.
Oh, that's where I just came from,
Yeah.
Coffs Harbour. Yeah,
So they
plenty of bananas
always
there.
donate those leaves.
Ah.
for this,
Oh, you have to tell me who next time so I can
yeah.
look them
September
up.
14th, yeah.
Tell me who it is, I will look them up next time.
Coffs Harbour, is it? Okay.
But it must be somebody there,
Yeah.
one person.
Whoever has the plantation.
Yeah. So, you know, if we balance passion and tranquility, like you say, how can you dance if you don't have passion? But the thing is to be tranquil. You know, again, not to look for the outcome. You can still practice all of this. You don't look for praise. You don't try to look good. What your aim would be is to dance as a karma yogi. So and that's Indian dance is meant to be that. It's meant to be, yeah, connected. And so if you dance in that way, it should give people an experience of God, not attract people to your body and you are a good dancer, but transcend. And that's what all the art was originally for. And good art does that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Whether it's painting, singing, whatever it is, it
Lifts you.
transcends, it lifts, yeah. Good, so any questions, comments, otherwise we'll finish.
So what do they, okay, from today, what do we have to pay attention on? We want to really mind.
Keep the end in mind. So the whole, what we want to achieve today, but also in our last breath, is God. And that's another whole topic. Why? You know? Why should we attain God? What for? What's so great about God? Actually, this is also wonderful. in Brahma Kumari's philosophy, I think. Because, nobody else talks about God the way we do. Like in Golden Age, he won't even be there. So what do we remember God for? For him or for us? Interesting, isn't it? So God is so selfless, altruistic. Only Baba is altruistic and gets nothing out of whatever we give to God. But why do we give to God? So that we're not selfish. It's a method. And we all have desires, so at least let the desire be of the highest kind. So it purifies us. And also the alignment, because as they say, company colours the soul. So if we align with God, we will think as God thinks, we will see as God sees, we will feel as God feels. And why should we do that? Because I'm like God. I'm a soul, God's a soul. We're no different in essence, so we become gods. Like Baba says, a barrister will make you a barrister. God will make you gods. And we should become gods, because the world needs gods. Doesn't it? It needs pure divine beings, deities at least. Deities. And deity means the ones that give. We live to give, but you can't even use the word give. Even that seems not so elevated.
They are.
Service.
Yeah, it's just
They are.
life giving unto life, and we just are the witness of that. Because it flows. When we are always giving, nothing gets, grabbed. And so everything can keep going around. That's what happens in giving. Otherwise we put in the bank in case we might need it, or, we do this, we do this. It's all fear-based. We do everything out of fear. But when it's giving, there's an abundance mentality. We know there's plenty. I give you, it'll come back to me. I don't have to think about it anyway, but it will. And it does, actually. It does. That's the law. So it's so easy and wonderful when we get it. Om Shanti. You don't like a Tamil song? Everybody understands Tamil? Almost. No. Oh, like English songs, now they live in Australia. Okay, good.
Hindi, English, Tamil.
Uh-huh. Mix.
We had to make a
Mix,
rap
mix.
song.
Yeah. Yeah.